Hey guys, so today I have a new collection from Essie. I believe it's called the Celebration Collection. I've been kind of scrolling through their Instagram and I'm like not really finding a lot of information on what the collection is actually called. Essie's not like the best for actually giving out information on their polishes. I got these from 88beauty.com back in like December or January, but there was really like no info about the collection at all, so I've been holding on to them. And I just recently saw Essie start to promote some of the shades on their Instagram, so I thought now's the time for the video. So 6 polishes here all together. I have not seen these in a drugstore myself, but I'm also a hermit and don't leave my house very often, but I do have a friend that has seen them in the drugstore recently, so they're popping up. Anyway, 6 polishes all together, and I will get into the swatches. So the first polish is called Sheer Luck, and this is a very sheer, just slightly off-white, like leaning a little bit pink, which is not showing up super well on camera, and it also has a little bit of a pearly shimmer to it. So again, very sheer. It's right in the name on the first coat. That pearl shimmer actually does stand out pretty nicely. There are some brush strokes through it right now, but I think those will go away as it dries. And it's a little bit hard to tell on the first coat, but right now it looks like this is going to be really even, which I think is the most important thing. If you're going to have a polish that doesn't build up all the way, it has to be even. Except my ring finger is totally uneven, so maybe not. I don't know, my ring finger has some pretty gnarly ridges in it right now, and I can't find my buffing block. So things tend to be looking a little bit more streaky on that nail than the other ones. So this one does start to build up a little bit on that second coat. I'm going to do 3 just to kind of show all the different levels of opacity here. But since this is more of a sheer polish, you can do however many coats you like the look of better. I don't know how to say that. You know what I mean. This definitely dried a bit more sheer than it applied on the first coat, and those streaks, even the ones on the ridges that are like, see that? That's a giant ridge right there on that side of my nail. I have one on my pinky finger as well, but it did like really smooth out as it dried, but it's probably just because it dried more sheer. So this one does build up a bit on that third coat. I'm going to let it dry all the way before I show it to you though, just because of how much more sheer the first and second coats have dried. I definitely don't think it's going to look this opaque when it's all said and done. Still pretty even aside from those giant ridges on my last 2 fingers. You'd think with all the nail stuff I have in my house that I would have more than one buffing block, but I don't. And I have a cat that likes to just take off with it. I suspect it's under the couch. So this is the final look here. It is a little bit more sheer than it was a couple of minutes ago when it was still wet. It is pretty even aside from these ridges over here, so you definitely will want to give yourself a good buff before you use this. But overall, nice sheer polish. I actually don't even hate the pearly shimmer that's in this because it is so subtle and it's not streaky at all. So that is 3 coats of Sheer Luck. The next polish is called the Bestest, and this is a kind of dusty blue cream. So this one is very opaque on the first coat, maybe a 1-coater. Let me look at it. I know it wasn't a 1-coater when I did my swatch pictures. It looks pretty good right now, but I have one little spot that I think is going to dry more sheer on my pointer finger, so I'm not going to call this a 1-coater just yet. And in case I forget to mention it in the intro, because I still have to film that today, a friend of mine saw this collection in a drugstore recently. I'm not even sure exactly what drugstore it was. And a couple of these polishes had those fancy like wraps around the bottles like the Valentine's collection did. But the whole collection didn't have them. I think it was only 2 or 3 of them. And I'm not really sure which ones because I wasn't there. But I got these from 88beauty.com back in like December. And I held on to them because I had no idea like what collection they came from. I just knew that they were polishes I hadn't seen before, and then Essie just started promoting them recently. So if you get these from a place like that, they're not going to be wrapped, but if you want to like search around for them in drugstores, you might be able to find them with those special wraps on them. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. I really think you could get away with 1 pretty easily here. It does dry a little bit darker than it applies, but the first coat was pretty much opaque. I had some spots that looked a little questionable that I thought were going to dry more sheer, but they really didn't. So I still think I need the 2 coats again just because of that nasty ridge, those 2 ridges there. But on the average nails, I think you could probably get away with 1 here. So that is 2 coats of the Bestest. The next polish is called Many Thanks, and this is a gold base with a bunch of like, it's weird. It looks like a frosty gold base, but it also has like really sparkly gold stuff going on in there as well. So this is a little sheer on that first coat. You could probably use this as a topper. This has a bit of a pink shimmer in there as well that doesn't really stand out in the bottle as much as it does on the nail, which is usually the opposite of how that works. And good formula on this one as well. So this one actually builds up really nicely on that second coat. There is still a little bit of nail line showing. I actually don't think it looks that bad. I think if you don't care about that, then you could probably get away with 2. But I'm going to go ahead and do 3. There's no glitter in here, so it's not going to be textured at all, and it's not going to be difficult to remove. This is my 3rd swatch video of the day, and my skin is screaming. So I am adding a 3rd coat here, which is covering everything completely. But I also don't really think that's entirely necessary. Another thing that I noticed about this is that it seems to like look kind of lame when it's wet, but then when it dries, it's like extra shiny. So that is 3 coats of Many Thanks. The next polish is called Birthday Girl, and this is a very light shimmery pink with a ton of gold shimmer in there. This is another one that could definitely be used as a topper, but I'm going to show it on its own. It is pretty sheer. I don't think this one builds up completely either. I think I still had some nail line after 3 coats. Good formula though. So this one does start to build up a bit on that second coat. You really don't get a lot of that base color. You're more just building up that shimmer. I mean, I guess there technically isn't a base color. The pink comes from the shimmer, so just ignore me. So again, shimmer here building up in 3 coats, but still a lot of nail line showing. Again, I don't hate it for some reason. I just don't hate visible nail line anymore. As long as the polish covers evenly, I'm good with it. If you don't like that look though, you could still use this as a topper if you wanted to. Also, no chunky glitter in here, so it's not going to be difficult to remove and it will dry smooth. So that is 3 coats of Birthday Girl. The next polish is called Nailed It, and this is a very dark, slightly purpley red. And I am filming this swatch way before I film the rest of them. So not sure if this Band-Aid was here for the other swatches or not, because I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to get those ones done. But I need this for a base color, so we're just going to film it now. This one is a little bit sheer on that first coat. It's not really streaky at all, just a little bit sheer, and I guess a little bit lighter than I feel like it should be based on what's in the bottle. And really good formula on this one as well. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats, and obviously that second coat makes the color much deeper. And this does seem to dry fairly shiny. So that is 2 coats of Nailed It. And the last polish is called Congrats, and this is a slightly purpley silver. Like it's silver, it leans a little bit purple in the base. And that's like this really fine silvery particle that makes up the base. And then it also has pink and blue, I believe. Maybe a little bit of red in there as well. Larger glitters. Not super large, but just big enough to stand out against that really fine silver base. When I first saw this, I'll have to dig it out. I thought this was the silver from, or the similar color from the Essie textured polish collection that came out end of last year. This is a little bit sheer on that first coat, but there is still a ton of glitter coming out. Good formula on this. And this is actual glitter, so it is going to take a little bit of scrubbing to remove, and it is going to dry a little bit textured. Okay, so this one is actually still a little bit sheer on that second coat. I can still see some nail line here. So I'm going to add a 3rd to try to cover that up. I actually can't find that textured polish that I wanted to compare this to. I mean, this isn't a texture polish, so they're not comparable. But I'm a little annoyed that I can find 4 of 6 of that collection, and one of the ones I can't find is the one I'm looking for. I'm a mess today. I don't even think they're comparable. It's just when I first saw promo shots of this online, I thought that's what it was under a different name because they had come out so close together and there was no information about this collection, but I doubt that they're actually close if you stick them together. Okay, I found it. I know this has absolutely no bearing on the video at all, but this one has similar colors, like really slight pink and blue particles in it, even though it is a texture polish. So I just wanted to prove my point here. So this one does cover completely in 3 coats. If you look at it in certain angles, you can still see a little bit of nail line, but it is very, very minor. Also, is this, because this whole collection is like congratulatory things, birthdays and whatnot, is this supposed to be like a baby shower thing because it's pink and blue? That's my guess. So that is 3 coats of Congrats. So I actually think Many Thanks is my favorite because I was very pleasantly surprised with this. When I first saw it, I thought it was going to be like just like a gross sheer gold, like a color that's just totally not my thing at all. But it built up really nicely in 3 coats, and after it dried, it had this really shiny like foil finish to it. And I was really surprised at how much I liked this on my nail. I felt the same way about, what is that, Birthday Girl? But I still like this one better because Birthday Girl was like a little bit too sheer, and to use it as a topper, it's like not really my kind of topper. So Many Thanks is my favorite. So that is what I believe is called the Essie Celebration Collection. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.